Hey. You know what time it is.
It's time for the Heart to Heart Journey to Unconditional Love podcast.
That's right. And I am your host, the late bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlan Brown. And Harlan Brown, I'm going to just let my background speak for itself. I ain't even got to say nothing because all the naysayers are done. They're hushed. They're this. I got this on. Look at it very carefully. And I ain't going to say nothing about it. But you're going to see this the whole month. You're going to see this maybe the whole year. I'm going to in the gear because this is what we do. Now, let's get into the podcast so everybody know what's going on. We were talking about, matter of fact, let's start with the scripture from the last one, because from the last scripture, that's how we kind of ended things. So I wanted to make sure that we have this. So I'm on a real high. I mean, I love doing this podcast, but what just happened? But to us, I'm even on a higher high. So, but go ahead and you can read the scripture for the people so that they can see what's going on here.
Sure. The scripture came from Matthew 7:16. You will know them by their fruits.
Yes. And we were talking about red flags don't turn green. Put that up there. Red flags don't turn green. So I know we had gone back and forth, and you had given an example about red flags that you have. And one of the red flags was, if you can just kind of do a real quick synopsis of one of the red flags that you were talking about when we started this conversation, started this series.
So the red flags that I had was a twofold thing. It was communication. It was about not being able to sit comfortably with your partner's emotional dealings, right? Whatever the person is going through, and they're coming to you and they're trying to talk to you and work through this emotional, how I'm feeling or how this makes me feel, without the other person fixing it or dismissing it or disappearing and hoping it fizzes out by itself, and then come back and be like, oh, well, we discussed that and we don't have to talk about that anymore. And then that leads to surface conversations, because then now the person who had who wanted to have this emotional conversation, who wanted to really get down in the trenches with the person that they're with so they can understand them a little better, or even have these conversations and not feel like that they can't have these conversations, causes for, and I'm not going to say it causes that, but I think that generally is what happens, is people are like, I don't know how I can get through to this person to talk to them, because I'm either being dismissed, fixed, or we just not going to talk about it and act like that never existed, and we just going to like brush over it. And so I think that is the biggest thing I had for communication, because I think those are the key things that we tend to miss. I think people have this grandiose idea that they can communicate very well, but when it comes to certain things, they just can't sit with the emotional attachment to those things.
Yeah, and I like I said before, and I know I put the onus on us as men, that we don't have that. A lot we're accused of not having that emotional attachment when it comes to the empathy, the overall understanding that this really hurts our partner, and we just brush it off. Sometimes we help fix it, we listen, we do what we need to do, but we kind of look at it as that, okay, we had this conversation, you good, we good, okay, let it go. When I would say our partners are looking for a little bit more. And I don't want to just put the onus on men. It's women do the same thing. And if partners, if you partnered up, or if you have a significant other, or you have a spouse, you have a man or a wife on that, and those are some of the things that can happen. It can be anybody, not just men. But I know we get we get the brunt of that conversation, saying we are not the ones who can be emotionally attached in a relationship, especially when it comes to wanting to communicate and have that. And to compound it, it is a red flag, because it's going to come up several times. This is not going to be the only conversation you're going to have with your partner that is going to have some emotional attachment to it, and you're detached from it. So I wanted to talk about that. And I know this is what we're talking about. Red flags don't turn green. When you see this, that's the key. When you see this, how do you navigate through it? And one thing we said is communication, really understanding communication, how your partner can communicate better, be slow, be fast to listen, slow to speak. And that's basically really understanding, not coming up with your thoughts as the person is speaking, but actually hearing them out, hearing their thoughts all the way through, and then making your comments after that. And sometimes there doesn't even need to be afterward, although you might have an opinion on it, because you can't discount what your partner is feeling. So why I say a red flag doesn't turn green, if that's your makeup and that's who you are, and you don't have that emotional attachment, and if the partner is paying attention to what I'm saying, that red flag is not going to turn green until it's being worked on. And what I mean by that, it has to be worked on through Christ, through God. That person has to want to be emotionally attached in their relationship. And the only way that they can get emotionally attached in the relationship is if God is the foundation of that relationship, and you bring and that person brings Christ into their life and say, God, please give me that understanding. Let me understand what's going on. Help me to be emotionally attached. Because when you have change, and I'm going to say this, people can say it all the time, I've changed. But the first sign of adversity, they revert back to what they know.
Absolutely.
So if in that conversation said, I changed, and through God, I'm a totally different person. I'm whatever. Not saying that you're not going to have any backslides or anything, because we all fall short of the glory of God. But that has to be, they have to go hand in hand. Because and I'm telling you, this is why a red flag won't turn green unless that person has that second attachment to it, which is, I've changed because I've talked to Christ. I've laid my foundation with Christ. He had me understand what I was doing wrong, or what I was doing not to be emotionally attached in this relationship. And now I understand how to be emotionally attached. I'm working on that every day, daily, so that I can be there for my partner. Now, I know it might be a lot of controversy with that. Late bloomer, like, hey, late bloomer, what you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? But this is why red flags don't turn green. Because a lot of times we want to do it for ourselves. I got it. I can stop drinking. I can stop smoking. I can stop being emotionally detached and become attached. It just don't happen overnight. You have to change your way of thinking, but you also have to bring God in that in order for it to be everlasting.
I totally agree with that. And I think that a lot of people say that they bring God into it, but then where is your faith? Because you're not moving in that. Like you're saying, I prayed about this and I'm bringing God into this. But where's your faith? Because faith without works is dead. So if you're not making any movement toward that, then how are you even understanding if this is your red flag? You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of times people could say, oh, that could be a red flag, or this could be a red flag, but not me, because I'm a communicator. But if your partner is not feeling that, then no, you're probably not the best communicator in certain emotional settings, right? So your partner now starts to withdraw, starts to stay with the surface conversations, because now it's like, if I bring it up, I'm gonna either get the silent treatment for a minute, or I'm going to not hear, because I'm not gonna hear from this person, because the person will come back to you and, oh, I'm processing this, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And yeah, that's great, but what does that leave your partner hanging out on a limb, not knowing or understanding what's going on? And so I think even when you do come back together, I think it's an opportunity to work together on these processes. And yes, pray together, seek God together,
Yeah.
if this is what you want. Because I feel like a
That's
lot
the
of
hold on.
times,
Don't stop there. That's
go
the
ahead.
key. If this is what you want, you will make the necessary steps and changes
That's
to
another
make it
one of my
happen.
red flags. Yeah, yeah.
And people have to understand it's a lifestyle. It's a life happening. It's not like you can just go and say, "Hey, I prayed to God, I'm good. I'm good. He got me." No, you have to live it. And it comes out because whatever you put in your mind about what God is and how he helped you goes to your heart. And that's how it comes out to your partner. See, we started this podcast on the first thing is what we say, mind your business. That was our very first podcast because you can't have change of anything unless you change your mind first. And you have to mind your business. You have to know what the business is going on in your mind in order for you to connect with somebody else. Now, if you want to be by yourself, you don't have to do anything for nobody at any time at any point because that's all about you. But if you would like to be with someone, if you would like to have that journey to unconditional love, as we having a heart-to-heart conversation right now, it has to go with the foundation of God and changing your mind so that it can change your heart so that you can connect with your partner. So that's the red flag. And they won't turn green automatically because you said so.
No, they can't
Anything
turn
that
green
you've done and
automatically.
anything
But
that you've gotten in life, go ahead.
I'm not saying that they will turn green automatically. I'm saying that there is a process, there is a work to be done, right?
Yes.
And if you're
Yes.
not willing to do the work, then you need to say that, right? You need to communicate that. Like, I get what you want,
But who's
but
going to
I'm not
say
going to.
I'm in a relationship, but I don't want to work on it? Ain't nobody going to say that.
But at the end of the day, why don't what I'm saying is just be realistic with it, because I feel like there are people who want to be in a relationship. They like the relationship where it is. They
Yeah.
don't want to grow.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. If you
Well,
don't
I don't
want
I
to
don't know if
grow,
they don't want to grow. I think they feel it's growing because the longevity of it. And then as the
okay,
longer I'm
well,
in it, we've grown, whatever. But you've been in the same place when you first started and said hi.
I'm saying this is all I'm saying. The
Yeah,
longevity of anything.
yeah.
There's people who have dated people for 45 years, right?
And
And
they're the same
they
spot they
still in the
was when they
same
first met.
place. They
They're
will
so
never
perfect.
go, they will never go to their spouse with any seriousness, right? Because
Yeah,
they know their spouse can only handle certain amount of things. There's
yeah,
things that happen in each other's lives that pull them closer together.
yeah.
But could you really get down to the nitty-gritty with the person that you're with to have these conversations without them turning into something that, you know, that is not accepted? So all I'm saying is, yeah, people can be in relationships, and I'm not saying you're going to say, I don't want to work on a relationship. I'm going to say this. There are people who are in relationships that can work on a relationship for the relationship to grow and be better and stronger, but you got to be willing to take the step to allow for that to happen. When you hold back and when you sit there and say, well, yeah, I want this relationship to work, but really not willing to make that step or make that step or make that step, where do you leave your partner when your partner is like, so what step are we supposed to be taking, or are we even, or is this even something that you want to continue on with? That's
Oh,
what I'm
that's
saying.
not. Look, I see you in the mode too, because that looked like you just did a Euro step over there. Oh,
No,
shit, go
I'm
ahead.
rocking in my chair. My chair is a little wobbly today, so I'm
Look,
rocking.
you doing a Euro
I'm
step over
moving.
there. Yeah,
My
you keep
head
it with
is
the
moving
theme. You
and
keep it
the
with
chair
the
is
theme.
moving.
No, but I get it and I understand. So just understand, audience, what we're talking about here. When you have a red flag, it's not going to turn green just by you saying, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to do this. It has to come with real work and real understanding, but it has to have a foundation. And that foundation of the change comes with God. It comes through Christ. I don't care what you do in life. You just ain't going to just change on your own. Because like I said, the first sign of adversity and you get punched in the mouth, hit in the face, done whatever, something smacks you down or whatever, you're going to revert back to what you know. But if you had that calmness, that peace, and what we talked about to begin turning that red flag green is first, pray on your own. Second, pray with your partner before you even want the change to happen, and then pray together and make sure that you're working on that change to make that red flag turn green. Because it can be, you think it's easy to say I'm connected, but once a person starts talking and you disagree with what they're talking about, all of that love and thing you had for them goes out the door because they're saying something that you disagree with. And you want to rebuttal and say, oh, no, you putting words in my mouth. You saying something I ain't saying. Oh, no. You want to defend as opposed to just listen, taking it in, getting an understanding, and then working it out together. I think I lost the audience there, Harlem Brown. I'm sorry.
How did you lose the audience when?
I'm sorry. I think I lost the audience because they're not hearing what I'm saying about these red flags.
Didn't say it again.
You know, I'm not even gonna say it again. I'm gonna say this.
Wow.
When you see a red flag, proceed with caution. We in here to save relationships, but don't fool yourself to think that that red flag is going to turn green just because you're staying together or you got a surface level solution, because that's going to come back again. And if you've taken everything surface level, when that other person is getting deeper and deeper into what they're feeling and how they're feeling, and you're not taking that journey with them, that red flag is going to be the red flag where you're not doing them any justice by being with them. Absolutely. And I'm not telling you to leave your partner. I'm just letting you know, say, listen, if you see a red flag, and if you are the cause of the red flag, just know that it ain't going to turn green without work. Just know if you are the person who sees a red flag, just know your partner's not going to turn that green just by telling you that, hey, I'm going to do better. I'm going to be better. It comes with work. It comes with faith. It comes with just understanding. It comes with
commitment, and it comes with wanting to do that. Because
absolutely,
like I said from the beginning, if you are not wanting to do that, then like, what is the purpose of being there?
That red flag will stay red.
You're not willing to put in the work. It's small consistencies that have you put in the work in order to have the big prize, right? It's the small steps that you take every day. It's the consistency that you have every day. It's the things that you do. Small steps and consistency builds relationships. It builds trust. It builds safe spaces. It builds great environments. So you don't have to have you don't have to be in a position where you think everything is surface level, because guess what? We've had all of these small deposits along the way that should have a safe space, a comfortability to be able to have these conversations.
But what's the foundation? What's the foundation?
The foundation is always God, but
has to be.
That's it. The foundation is always God.
Has to be.
All I'm saying is, if you have God as your foundation, don't hide behind that. You have to put in the work as well. You have to physically do something. You can't tell me that you prayed about it and it's okay. You
physically, mentally
have to do something.
Well, you have to physically, mentally, emotionally, put it all together. You have to lay it out on the line. What are you holding back for? Like, I'm just asking a question. I know our time is almost up. What are you holding back for? You're with this person for life. Give everything that you have. And I know it's tough. I know that's probably one of the worst things or worst advices you could give to somebody is give them everything. But you're already committed. You're already committed to that person. So why not give them everything and see where it goes and where it takes you, as long as the foundation is one of good nature. And I say first of God and of good nature. If you're together for some other reasons, then you already know it's not going to work. Those red flags are going to stay red flags. But if you are doing this of good nature and you have a red flag, and again, we all have red flags. Everybody's concerned about what another person is going to do, and they see something like, that don't look kind of right. I'm going to address this issue now before it gets worse later. The issue though is when you want to address it, the other person is not ready to address it. And they're saying, hey, that's just who I am. You're going to have to accept me for who I am. That's not a good answer. That's not going to be the answer. So listen, we're going to continue this thing. What's the scripture? What we got for? Oh, we put the scripture up earlier.
Yeah,
So
we just use the same scripture that we had before. You will know them by their fruits.
right, and the fruits again. That's all good nature. That's all good nature. So you will know who your partner is by the fruits that they give out in the relationships, willing to work, willing to put their emotions in it, willing to put the mental in it, willing to put the physical in it to ensure that your relationship keeps building and building, going to another level so that everybody is attached and on one accord. So I'm going to give you the last words because I know our time is up there, Harlem Brown. I'm going to give you the last words.
I'm going to say this. I am in total agreement with all of that was said today, but I want to add on this. You can work and you can assume that you're working on making things better, but until you communicate with your partner and discuss the steps that we're going to take to move forward to make this work, then it's null and void because of the fact that the partner doesn't know what's going on, but you know what's going on. Everybody both of you guys have to be on the same playing field. I see it so many times when people are like, no, I'm working on this. I did this work. But did you communicate that with your partner? Does your partner know that you're working on this? Does your partner even have a clue about what you're working on? So I'm going to say this, work together, include God and include each other, because that's the disconnect. I can be spiritual all day, but until I reach out to who I'm with, then all of my spirituality is just between me and God. We don't have no room for nobody else.
We got to share it.
You gotta be able to walk the walk.
And share it. Yeah, that's great. So our time is up as we end all our podcasts. But look at the background because y'all know I'm going through this the whole month, the whole year. Because we are champions, baby. We are champions. I know. I'm putting a shameless plug in there. And I'm not gonna say no names because we don't need to say no names because they're all the naysayers out there. But again, as we end our podcast, we're gonna continue this series on Red Flag Turns Green. Trying to do something will keep you in the same place, but when you actually do something, your place has no limitations. I am your host, the Late Bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlem Brown, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah.